have tough life, hard life, success becomes very easy because you have motivation, you're hungry, you need this.
Over the last few years, Khabib Nurmagomedov has become one of the leading lights in all of combat sports. His star has risen so sharply and his opinions are increasingly sought after. As a result, there is very little we don't know about the undefeated 155 pounds champion from Dagestan. However, we think there are still a few things that don't reach the mainstream public outlets. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Here are 10 things you don't know about Khabib Nurmagomedov. Number 1. Khabib is not just a spectacular fighter, but a very smart individual too. Khabib speaks many languages including his native Avar, Russian, Turkish, and English, while also now learning Arabic too. His father has said that Khabib is not quite confident enough to try speaking Arabic in public, but is almost at that point. Beyond that, in 2019, he enrolled for his 3rd year at the Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, so he has many options when he finally retires from the sport. Number 2. Khabib is the first Muslim champion in UFC history. The lightweight champion is such a dominant force, driving forward on an unbeaten run that only increases in value with each passing victory. Blazing new trails seems to be his thing, as he also shines the torch for Muslim fighters across the world. One of the most iconic clips of Khabib involves him standing on the scales and pointing at himself. He shakes his finger to say no and raises it to the heavens in respect. He is a thoroughly inspiring figure to all those from his faith, and many beyond. Number 3. Is Khabib the first Russian UFC champion? There is currently an ongoing dispute between Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov and Oleg Taktarov regarding this potential first for Khabib. Oleg was known as the Russian Bear and fought in the UFC in its early years. He actually won UFC 6 while it was still in a tournament format. As it was not an official title, that reality would mean that Khabib is also the first Russian to hold the UFC title too. It is still a shock that Taktarov is the only competition for this accolade of first Russian UFC champion, as we associate the country with many great fighters. Oleg's frustration is understandable as nobody questions the legitimacy of Royce Gracie's titles. Number 4. Khabib didn't become a champion athlete right away. Not known to many is the grind that Khabib went on at a very young age. Initially, he was struggling to find success as a 13 and 14-year-old child and would be finishing in 6th or 7th place for most national competitions. At 16, he focused down to only 3 disciplines and began to find success. Between the years of 2006 to 2008, he went from a relatively unknown fighter to someone who was feared by his competition, as his father would later state. Number 5. How did he end up spending time with Conor McGregor in the early years? Before they were mortal enemies, it is widely known that Conor and Khabib had taken some photos together and were seen to be mutually respectful after the encounter. But how did that occasion come to pass? Well, Conor tweeted a question asking if anyone else would like a dethroned shirt after an event. Khabib had replied yes, and Conor responded with "good man." Khabib then told him that he was staying in Vegas and that Conor should stop in to see him when he was there. Conor then suggested that they should train together at the same time. The picture of the two together in happier times was born. Number 6. What did Khabib donate to the charity set up by Dustin Porier? After their recent title match, most of us will know that Khabib had promised to sell his shirt from the fight. However, not many of us know what actually materialized from that offer. It turns out that Khabib donated $100,000 to the charity. Dustin responded by saying it was the biggest donation his charity, the Good Fight Foundation, had received to this date, and it would be put to good use helping people. Not only that, but the $100K donation was also matched by UFC President Dana White, totaling $200,000 for the charity. Number 7. Khabib is allowed to marry up to 4 times. It may already be known to some that marrying more than one wife is a cultural normality in this region. Having been married for 7 years, the question is whether it is a practice Khabib is likely to do at some point in his life. The father and the grandfather of Khabib both had 2 wives, and his father stated that Khabib will likely marry a second wife in his 50s or 60s. Khabib married his childhood sweetheart in 2013, and they had their 3rd child at the end of last year. Number 8. Nobody in the mainstream public knows what his wife looks like. Khabib is notoriously secretive when it comes to his wife. No pictures have emerged online, and it seems that it is just how the champion likes it. It is very different to most UFC fighters, who we've become accustomed to seeing with their partners on multiple occasions. We are not used to seeing Khabib's family at fights, which explains the absence of those images to some degree. However, rumors abound as to why secrecy is so vigilantly adopted with regards to his wife. Number 9. What was Khabib trying to convey to Tony Ferguson when he began telling him he was from the real mountains? Most of us have heard Khabib telling Tony that he would destroy him in a street fight. He validated this statement by telling him that he was from the real mountains. The mindset behind this statement has its origins in the famous hat he wears on fight night. The hat is known as a papaja. Local custom explains the significance of people who wear it are thought to be strong, self-sufficient, and capable of surviving in a rough environment, a status which clearly means a lot to Khabib by the way he immediately went after Tony. Number 10. Why is Khabib not allowed to have his father in his corner at any US-based fights? There is not a clear understanding of the rationale behind this prevention. Khabib actually had his father in the US during 2015 and 2016. He was denied access only on his third trip and has since been unable to get another visa. Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov personally believes it is due to the fact that he held aloft Russian flags at the UFC 208 event. It was understood that everyone had been asked not to do such a thing, and Khabib's father seems to have defied their request. It was during this time that Russia annexed Crimea and was obviously a politically charged time. Well, that is it for our list. We hope you enjoyed the video and we managed to teach you something new about Khabib. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to get new MMA content daily.